Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Doctor.
عظم الله أجركم دكتور.
شكر الله سعيكم. شكرا. بارك الله فيك. Right. So may his soul rest in peace, yes?
Yes.
May his soul rest in peace. Although the form is past, sometimes in Arabic we use past forms to express the present and the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we say غفر الله له, for instance, how would one translate this? This is part of contrastive, by the way, contrastive grammar.
May God forgive
Contrastive
him.
linguistics, yeah. May God forgive him. Rahimahullah would be may his soul rest in peace. Or Samahakallah, sometimes we say. May God forgive you, yeah. Right. This is one of the problematic areas because English and Arabic are dissimilar in this area. It's like we say, if we reflect on contrastive linguistics, we'll find that it's quite useful. Can anybody translate this?
May you repeat it?
If we reflect on contrastive grammar or linguistics, we'll find that it's quite useful.
إذا طبقنا
If we reflect.
reflect.
Reflect. The meaning of reflect. What is the meaning of reflect?
انعكاس.
Contemplate. Think about it.
إذا فكرنا فيها دكتور تأملنا فيها.
إذا المقارنة سنجدها مفيدة.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah. إذا in Arabic, I think there's a style where ما is used. إذا ما تمعنا أو إذا ما أمعنا النظر في القواعد المقارنة. What do we say? We'll find it useful.
سنجدها مفيدة جدا. مفيدة.
Yeah, سنجد here is negative transfer. Negative transfer from English. I mean, English uses will. We'll find it. In Arabic, we simply say وجدناها مفيدة. So we use again the past form to mean the present. وجدناها. Yeah. It's like if you study, you'll pass. If you study, you will pass. So what do we say?
We study.
إذا درست نجاح.
If you study, you will pass.
إن تدرس تنجح.
إن تدرس تنجح. Yeah, that's another. So we don't always use will. That's part of the English structure, but not of Arabic, of that of Arabic. Right. I'd like somebody to define the term source and target language as far as foreign language learning is concerned.
May I?
Yes, sure. Yeah, sure.
The source text Doctor, that we are translating from to the target language.
Yeah, okay, fine. And the target?
The target language, that the translation that we translated from the source language.
Okay, so I mean, this applies to translation, but in the context of
Yes, Doctor.
of foreign language learning, a target language would be a foreign language. When we say source language,
Yes.
Arabic, for instance, is our source language. English, in this case, is the target language. So the term source and target languages are used in the context of foreign language learning. They are used to refer to one's native language and the target language, which is the foreign language. So we have source language and target language. We are all bound, all foreign language learners are bound to some extent, negatively influenced by the linguistic system of the linguistic system, the source of the source language, the linguistic system of the source language or the native language. In our case, in the case of Arab learners, I mean, we are influenced not just by the linguistic system of standard Arabic, but also of that of the dialect, of colloquial. We have diglossia in the Arab world. We have diglossia, so we have a standard linguistic system and colloquial linguistic system. Which one do we acquire first?
Standard.
Do we acquire standard
No,
first?
the slang language.
I mean, as far as children are concerned, what do they acquire or learn the linguistic system of the language?
Learn, Doctor.
I mean, children acquire. Children acquire the linguistic system of the dialect. Jordanian dialect, Iraqi, Egyptian, etc. So they acquire that system. Then, unfortunately, I'm saying, they start learning the linguistic system of standard Arabic. That's why none of the native speakers of a dialect have any problem in communication. They hardly commit errors in phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, pragmatics, etc. They come to grips with the linguistic system of the colloquial dialect because they acquire it. We have to draw a distinction between language acquisition and language learning. Language acquisition means اكتساب اللغة. Language learning is تعلم اللغة. So colloquial is acquired. Standard is learned. That's why, I mean, even prominent, scholars sometimes have a foreign accent in standard Arabic. I mean, this is the chapter we started. I mean, we started phonetic and phonological difficulties encountered by Arab learners of English, but Arab learners also have problems with the pronunciation of some sounds, the production of some sounds, and some sound combinations. So, for instance, in the Jordanian dialect, in colloquial Jordanian dialect, what do we say? How do we say the word bent in colloquial?
Bent.
بنت.
Do we say bent
No, you say bent.
or Bennett? Yes,
Bent.
Bennett.
Yeah.
So that shows a foreign accent. Yeah, that shows a foreign accent. In Syrian dialect, instead of saying Dimashq, what do they say?
Saying what?
Dimashq.
Dimashq.
Ah,
So that shows a foreign accent. Even in standard Arabic, I mean, some prominent scholars, you know, instead of saying ذلك, they tend to say ذلك. ذلك. Even though they are scholars in the field, you know. They have some problem with the jim. Yeah, with the jim. In some dialects, by the way, in some Arabic dialects, the jim doesn't exist. The ja, which is voiced palato-alveolar, voiced palato-alveolar affricate. It doesn't exist in some dialects. So in Egyptian dialect, Yemeni dialect, Omani dialect, they replace it by ga. So a voiced palato-alveolar affricate goes to voiced velar nasal sound. Voiced velar stop. Yeah. In Jordanian dialect, of course, this is, I mean, saying Jordanian dialect is a vague term. It's vague because not all Jordanians face the same problems in pronunciation, whether as far as English or standard Arabic are concerned. Some students, I'm sure, here have a problem with pronouncing the j, so they tend to make it j with a fricative sound. Is that right? So instead of saying al-jami'a, what did they say?
Jama.
جامع.
Jama. No, they say j. They use a j, which is fricative, not affricate. Of course, most people are unaware of such, you know, such problems which cause having a foreign accent sometimes, even in standard Arabic. Yeah. Okay. Now, last time, remember we said that there are 4 types of errors. One is addition, where an element is added which shouldn't be there. Addition of an element which shouldn't be there. In saying asked, some people tend to say ask kid. So this is addition of an E sound which shouldn't be there. In using auxiliary verbs, in who told you that, the tendency is to say who did tell you that. Now that doesn't work, because with who, when we ask about the subject in the present and past, there is no need to use an auxiliary. Adding is in most cases. I mean, why? I don't know. I mean, this is not negative transfer from English, definitely. It's intra we have interlingual errors and intralingual errors. This is not because of negative transfer from English. It's a stage between English and Arabic. So addition is one. Omission of a certain element is another. Sometimes we omit an element, like when we form questions, interrogative forms. Most Arabs are influenced by the source language, so they tend to drop auxiliaries. So we come across utterances like where you live, where you live. It should be
Where do you live?
where do you live? When he arrived. These are common, common errors, frequent. When he arrived. They mean to say, when did he arrive? So omitting auxiliaries is a good example. In the word, can anybody say the word symbol plus ISM?
Symbolism.
Symbolism.
Again.
Symbolism.
Yeah. But some students tend to say symbolism. Symbolism, they say. It's, although it's the suffix is ISM, but it's ism. So there is a schwa in pronunciation and transcription. There is a schwa after the z sound. Symbolism, classicism, cynicism,
Eulogism.
Thatcherism, Marxism, ism. So some foreign language learners tend to drop that. It must be there. Okay. Then we have substitution, and this is very common. Substituting one sound by another. In case of English consonant, in case of vowels, last time we started analyzing vowels. In terms of vowels, one of the most difficult vowels is e. This is as in 10, bed, get, said. This is often replaced by e, by kasra. Now this is not kasra. E is kasra. E is higher, is lower, a little bit lower, according to the height of the tongue. So we say better. Most students, foreign language learners, tend to say better. Better and better are two different forms. They are minimal pairs. Yeah. Then we have ordering. Ordering is very important. It occurs sometimes in pronunciation. In some dialects, like New York dialect, for instance, it's very common to hear people say, I asked him a question. I asked instead of I asked. This is very common in some dialects, especially in the States. In Arabic, of course, we have words like what? Marriage. How do you say marriage in Arabic?
الزواج.
زواج.
We say zawaj.
بس في
That's
ناس
in
بيحكوها
standard Arabic.
ناس بيحكوها جواز.
And yeah, in dialect, in most dialects, they say jawaz. Yeah, they say we call this metathesis. So it's to do with the ordering of the phonemes. they are not ordered right.
دكتور أنا بحس
أوكي.
هاي زي المرض عدوى، يعني الناس تتناقل وفي دائما كلمات بتطلع الناس أول شيء بتكون تمزح فيها، بعدين بتصير
أيوة.
عدوى، بتصير خلص إشي كمون يعني.
Well, I think it's to do with trying to ease articulation. It's to do with we'll do I mean aspects of phonological processes in chapter 1. We'll try to explain why reordering occurs. Sometimes it's used, I mean, we apply certain rules in colloquial and dialects to ease articulation. In most cases, it's a case of assimilation, I think. Yeah. Anyway, now, last time we said that there are 6 vowel sounds in Arabic, while English has 12 vowel sounds. Sounds that don't exist in Arabic are problematic, but they can never be fossilized errors. I mean, they are problematic. They are problematic if students are not made aware of them, if they are not trained how to articulate such sounds. But with practice, I mean, they can easily be overcome. Any pronunciation problem, all we need to do is just try to analyze it on scientific basis, then have more practice. Oral practice is very important. Our curricula are writing oriented, writing based. We should pay more attention to the 2 skills, listening and speaking. So through practice, we can easily overcome any problem. Arab learners have good ears, by the way, and they are top in Mind Your Language, that famous BBC program. There was a class, multinational class, Japanese, Indians, Arabs. The Arab, I don't know, that's what they confessed, you know, what they admitted. This, I mean, he topped the class because he could easily produce any sound in English with hardly having a foreign accent. It's not difficult to achieve. Right. Now let's move to consonants. What English sounds you think are problematic from experience?
The schwa sound.
Muhammad.
I think the J sound, perhaps the J sound.
What sound?
J sound.
Pa sound, which is voiceless, yes? Voice plus bilabial stop. This is one of the major errors, I mean, major problems. But does it occur in Arabic? Do we have it in Arabic?
I believe so, Doctor.
I think it is difficult, yes. I mean, the tendency is to replace it by a ba. So pen goes to bin. Pad goes to bad. Pan, ban. Does it occur in Arabic? I mean, do we have such a sound in Arabic? Does it occur in Arabic? The voiceless bilabial stop?
We have the light ba sound, not pa.
We have the light
Light ba sound, مش pa.
Yeah.
we have حرف يعني الباء بس ما عندنا البي.
Now in words like قلب, the pa here is an allophone. So it's not really ba, is it? Is it voiced or voiceless? قلب.
Voiceless.
Yeah, it's voiceless, yeah. It occurs
Yes.
but as an allophone. So it doesn't change meaning. It doesn't change the meaning of the word if a ba, which is voiced, is replaced by a pa, because they are allophones. Allophones don't change meaning. Yeah, okay. But this is a common problem. Pa sound is problematic. Va sound is another. But that does not mean that Arab learners can't produce va. It is problematic. It's fossilized in some Gulf countries. They do have a problem with the va. So very goes to ferry, van, fan, villa, filler. That's another sound. Okay. What other sounds what other consonants don't exist in Arabic? In standard Arabic, I mean. Je sound is problematic. Je sound. That's problematic for some learners. Yeah. Right, je. So we have pa sound, va sound, je sound. Of course, depending on one's dialect, some students I know have a problem with the th sound. That they tend to mispronounce it as s. So instead of saying thin, they would say sin. This occurs in Syrian dialect, Syrian, Jordanian, some parts of Jordan. Yeah. The ra sound is problematic. I mean, before doing phonetics, I'm sure most learners are unaware that although the same sound occurs in both English and Arabic, yet it has a different place of articulation. So in English, it's post alveolar, while Arabic has an alveolar sound. Right. What else? Any other sounds?
دكتور ممكن نحكي ذا sound ببعض اللهجات ما بيحكوها؟
Which one?
The sound.
The sound, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, depending. Well, let's think for next time. Just think of make an inventory of sounds in your own dialect and see which sounds you find difficult to produce in standard Arabic and English, depending on the inventory of phonemes in one's dialect. So you can have as many problems as there are different linguistic backgrounds because of their dialect. Yeah. Okay. Now, okay, let's proceed to diphthongs. Let's compare and contrast diphthongs in English and Arabic. What diphthongs occur in Arabic? How many are they? Now, English has 8 diphthongs, yes? It has 8 diphthongs. In words like make, shake, cow, now, go, throw, so, here, near, there, more, tour. So English has more diphthongs. And this is why Arabic has only 2 diphthongs. Arabic has only 2 diphthongs, which are
المتماثلين ومتقاربين.
2 diphthongs. It has 2 diphthongs, which are أو and أي. أو قفا and أين or عين, as in we have عين, we have بين, and we have بون. You know what bone means in Arabic? بون. Bone would be a ba sound, a with you, that stands for أو, and noon. بين, low. So it has only 2 diphthongs. So the English diphthongs "o," boat, is likely to be replaced by boat, which is a vowel, a pure vowel. There goes to there. They tend to make it a. Of course, in some dialects we do have the a sound. In some dialects, the I goes to a. So instead of saying bait in standard Arabic, what do we say?
بيت.
Bait. That's it. We say bait. Bait. Ain.
عين.
Bain. So it's more like make, shake. Right. Have you got a copy of this? I sent you a PDF, but notice that the PDF has some missing pages. So I strongly recommend that you get a copy of this. It's available in the students' bookshop. Yeah, that's the one. It's available in the students' bookshop. So get a copy of this. I checked yesterday, and they told me they've got it. Right. Okay. Let's have what is a cluster? What do you mean by a cluster?
Yeah,
Ahmed?
When 2 to 4 consonants are followed each other without intervening vowels.
Okay. So we have a group of consonants. A group means 2, 3, or 4. A group of consonants without any. It's a sequence of consonants without any intervening vowels. So that's a cluster. In Arabic, of course, we call it التقاء الساكنين, because maximum an Arabic word may have is a cluster of 2 consonants, and that doesn't occur at the beginning. Yeah, that's why most Arab learners of English sometimes tend to break clusters. So in a word like construction or structure, the tendency is to make it structure. structure instead of structure. Now, structure has C, C, C. What happens is that they tend to insert a vowel after the first C to make it structure, not structure. Of course, we have to try to get rid of a foreign accent. Now, what is a foreign accent after all? A foreign accent is the result of misapplication of pronunciation rules. See what I mean? لكنة أجنبية طبعا. We have native accent and foreign accent. Foreign accents are there because the learner or the speaker does not apply the phonological rules of English. So a cluster is a sequence of three consonants or 4 consonants. We have to say it in one go without having an intervening vowel. 60, not 60. Now, Arabic has clusters of 2, I mean maximum. They never occur at the beginning. English has up to 4, and within words, it has up to 4. At the beginning, it has 3. So as to try to master the production of clusters, we have to have some training. In other words, try to produce any word with 2, 3, or 4 clusters without breaking the cluster. So words like texts, guests. I noticed that some Arab learners tend to say guestes. To start with, to begin with, to be honest, I didn't realize what he was saying when he said guestes. He said we have some guestes. So I thought it was a different word. Right. So Arabic has a cluster of 2. English has clusters of 2, 3, and 4. When we speak of clusters, of course, clusters are pronunciation based. They're not based on spelling. They are based on the spoken form. Let's have some words with clusters in Arabic. Can we have some examples? Any examples of clusters in Arabic? Standard Arabic. Yeah. Can you think of any? That's having CC.
رج
Again.
رجس يعني رجس الشيطان.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So you have ja and za. That's fine. قلب.